back to the Diabetic Diet Show. Today's show is Mongolian Beef and Noodles. This is show number 184. We start out with the ingredients. So our ingredients list is 8 ounces of thinly sliced beef. And you can use steaks if you want. About 6 ounces. Now you'll need wonton noodles, 2 cloves of garlic, you'll need scallions, green peppers, you'll need some soy sauce. I use the little packages that I get when I do my takeout menu instead of cooking. So you'll need a piece of ginger, and in case you don't know, keep your ginger in the freezer. I just keep it in a bag. And you can cut off a little piece. You could scrape it with your spoon. Then we need some brown sugar. This is my brown sugar tub. It comes in a big bag. I don't use that much. I just keep a little disposable spoon, fork thing that comes with something in here. You need cornstarch, comes in the package, about a 1/4 cup, so it uses a lot of cornstarch. And then you'll need 2 tablespoons of chicken Demi-Glace. I get it in a little package, it's in the refrigerator. I just spoon a little bit out in these cups. Trying to do it so I can speed things along a little bit. Then, for an option, you can use shiitake peppers. Now, these peppers are hot, and after you touch them, you make sure you have to wash your hands. Don't touch your eyes, or you'll be sorry with that. As an option, you can put in some crushed red pepper flakes. So the first thing we have to do is we have to prepare the ingredients. So what we need to do is to fill up a pan that you have a lid for about 3/4 of the way up. And you want this to be salted water. So I like to use kosher salt when I'm doing a heavy salt on. The recipe calls for a couple of cloves. This one here was kind of a small one. I felt sorry for it, so I thought I would include it in the party. So I'm just going to cut up these garlics by knocking the ends off them and throw them in my container. And if you watch me regularly, you know what comes next. You put them in the container and you shake the container, and it takes the paper right off them. Of soy sauce, and put it in the bowl. That's an extra one we're not going to use today. So let's bring out the garlic. Here's the paper. Now I'm just going to squish them. And then just check to make sure there's no paper on them. Chop it up. Next is your onion. For the onion, I want to cut off a little bit of the outside. I just put a slit in it like that. And that's to pop the canopy off. Out comes the center. Those little red ones are messy. Then I put a slot in it just like this. About every 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, you put a slot in it. Now that I have the slot, now I can cut in the bottom. Put some slots in the bottom like this, and I'm getting nice fine choppings coming off there. And I have the flat side of the onion down so it's safe as I'm holding it. And I literally just cut right around the root. Just like that. That'll be good. Now your ginger. Ginger you can cut, you can grate. I'm just going to thin slice it. I learned how to thin slice. One year a girlfriend talked me into selling Ginsu knives at a venture store for Thanksgiving. And part of the show that you had to do was the thin slice stuff. I guess I just kind of got good at it. Still have my Ginsu knives. And you also got a little orange juicer too. I still have my orange juicer. I haven't used it in years. You know, these days I just squeeze a lemon or a lime holding it up in the air so that the seeds just go in my hand. Okay, fine chop the ginger. Keeping an eye on the water, it's on high here. And today I have an exciting new toy that I'm going to show you that I'm really excited about. I love when UPS comes and brings me toys. It's almost boiling. Okay, now I put in that chicken mix. Knock off the bottom like that. And then I just do some thin slicing, about a 1/16 to an 1/8. And you go all the way up to the green. And then I stop. By the way, watch the show all the way to the end because I have some tricks that I'm going to tell you at the end of the show, some options and things. So sprinkle that in there. Now, what you want to do with your green onions is skip ahead a little bit, pitching the middle stalk part, and then chop again. This is going to be a topping. Just like that. Then I need a container. That's what that container was for. I knew there was a reason I put it on the table. That's where I saved my stuff for the end. Okay, and then for another topping, I either do cashews or almonds. So here's some cashews. Just maybe do 4 of those for the 2 of us. Let's chop up these cashews. By the way, the measurements and the ingredients and things that I'm using right now is just based on 2 of us. Of course, if you're cooking for a bigger family, you can kind of double all this stuff that I'm doing. The measurements and the ingredients and all that stuff, you can find that on my website. I have that all listed at jamestdds.blogspot.com. TbsPStock.com. Also, while I'm thinking of it, this is a good time probably to suggest to click on the subscribe button and hit the bell so when I drop a new video, you'll get notified. Chopping the cashews. There, just like that. I have dried Mexican basil. You can buy this at your local grocery store. Usually comes in a fairly large container. It's better than regular basil as far as the taste. And all you do is you put it, it smells good. You put it in your hand, which kind of warms it up, and then you rub your hand together. Kind of excites it, warms it up, grinds it, just like that. That smells really good. The noodles are almost done, so I use this special tool and I just kind of toss them a little bit just to make sure that they're getting soft or al dente. That's looking really, really good. Now I can take this pan off the heat and just leave them in the hot water and put my next pan on the burner. You can use olive oil, if you want to use olive oil, or you could use peanut oil. This is a Oriental meal, so I really think we should use some peanut oil. And of course, not much. Each one of those drips was a tablespoon, so I believe I put in about 3 tablespoons. Now I whisk my mix. If you were cooking peppers, this is where you would put the peppers in the frying pan for about a minute or so. Any kind of peppers that you want, whether it's red peppers, green peppers, jalapeno peppers, the shiitake peppers, any kind of peppers, this is where you just go ahead and put them in there and just let them start to roast. Now, I have this all set and ready for my ground beef. I'm going to cook the ground beef for about 1 to 2 minutes with some of this mix on it. And then I'm going to put more mix on it for another 1 to 2 minutes. The pan is getting hot, so it's time to put in our beef. Now this is a prime cut of beef. It was frozen, so what I did was I had it in a Ziploc bag. I put it in a pan of hot water and I let it sit while I was getting everything ready earlier. And it's amazing how it's all thawed already. Didn't have to microwave and wreck it. So that's one of my tricks. Put your meat in a Ziploc bag when you get it. Season it if you want at that point, or season it now. And then thaw it in hot water. I'm going to put on some salt and pepper now. This has been cooking for a minute, so I'm going to want to turn it over. So what I want to do is sprinkle a little bit of my flour on it. This little container like this, you could use a sifter if you want. Probably about a half, because you're going to use the other half on the other side. Okay. let's let that sit for a bit. So the meat is cooking. It's pretty lean, so it's taking a bit. So when you have meat that is this lean like this, that's probably a good thing to pour a little bit of olive oil over the top of it and then put the lid on it. The meat has been cooking for a bit, so let's take a look at it and see what it looks like. Oh, this is looking pretty well. Now what I can do to check it is I could take a small pair of tongs and grab one of the large pieces of meat. You put your thermometer in from the side. It is 202 degrees. So either the meat or the thermometer is cooked well. Now some people put chicken broth in here. You could put lemon, lime. I have a little bit of red wine. So I'm just going to put my finger over the end here. And I'm just going to spritz a little bit of red wine. That's going to give it a little bit of natural sweetness from those grapes. To plate this up, I have these fancy looking tongs, and I'm just going to grab it, put it right in the center of the plate like that. Then I'll kind of move some of my noodles off to the side here a little bit. I take and I grab my meat. There you go. Okay, so here you go. That is a pretty good looking meal. I bet it tastes real good. I can tell you it smells really good. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. That's our show for today. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button and click the bell so when we drop a new video, you'll get notified. Goodbye for now.